Hey everyone, it's Melissa. I just wanted to come on really quick. I got a few questions and I'm going to answer them really quick. First one was how much did the baby weigh and how big was he and stuff. So he was 7 pounds exactly. He was 21 inches long and his head was 13.5 inches. If you're not aware, if you haven't watched earlier videos, my water broke spontaneously on its own at 2:40 in the morning on the 5th. I went to the hospital at like 7 hours later and started Pitocin. Pitocin started my contractions and regulated them and only got up to a 12 for how much Pitocin I was getting. During that time, my cervix wasn't changing, wasn't dilating. I was getting frustrated. Finally, after 9 hours of hardcore contractions, I don't know if you guys know, but once your water's broke, your contractions are 10 times stronger. And on top of that, I have Pitocin. So they're out of the world. I thought maybe he would come really fast, but I thought wrong. So eventually I gave in and got an epidural, and believe it or not, the epidural works. As much as I'm against inductions and stuff, you know, I needed an induction because my labor did not start on its own. My water broke, and that was it. Let me see, from 8 p.m. until 8 p.m. until at least 3:30 a.m. the next morning on the 6th, I was stuck at a 5 centimeter. Finally at 4 something, I don't remember, it's on my Facebook, I started feeling less pressure, and it was extreme pain. And I called the nurse, I was like, I think I need to push, She's like, you're 10 centimeters, but we're going to wait for you to push. We're going to let the baby crown some more, mold, whatever you want to call it. At like 6:01, 6 o'clock, they came in the room, and the nurse paged the doctor and said it's going to be about 10 minutes. No, they thought wrong. They had to scream for the doctor. By the time the doctor got in, the baby came flying out. It was like 3-4 pushes. That was it. Peed it out. During the beginning stage of my water breaking, it was clear. The last hour and a half, 2 hours, we noticed that there was meconium, but he was totally fine when he was born. He does not know how to suck from a bottle. So I'm glad I chose breastfeeding, because had I not, he would still be in the hospital learning how to take a bottle on a feeding tube. So I'm glad that women are made to breastfeed their children. If you're bottle feeding your child, great. I'm not knocking you whatsoever. Bottle fed my first daughter, my second daughter. I breastfed her for like 3 months, and then she went on a bottle because we moved and my milk dried up. So I'm not knocking anybody that's bottle feeding. My son just will not take a bottle. He doesn't know how to suck a bottle. He can suck off of me. He knows how to nurse. He's gaining weight finally. Speaking of that, he had lost a significant amount of weight, which is normal for breastfeeding babies. The other day I was worried because he hadn't peed, so I took him into go be seen, and this doctor that he's seen made it a whole breastfeeding war and tried to give my son a bottle, and he was making me irritated and very upset. Then he sent me up to go see a lactation consultant who said that I was nursing him perfectly fine. Then yesterday he had to go for a follow-up weight check, and he was down to 6 pounds, 6 ounces. So he had lost 2 ounces in 1 day. And that doctor decided to take it upon himself to call a visiting nurse to come to my house without letting me know. So I had a text message last night from a visiting nurse, yes, a text message. So I called her back, and she told me she was going to come to my house to weigh my son. And here I am confused, like, nobody told me. So now I'm waiting for a manager from the hospital to call me because that doctor had no right to go snooping in my son's medical records and find out how much he weighed yesterday. And his doctor, who was my doctor, who's my children's doctor, who was my parents, my mother's doctor, said that he was perfectly fine and healthy and not to be worried at all. He was even telling me how his wife breastfed all their children. Anyway, right now he's 6 pounds, 10 ounces. So yeah, No, yesterday he was 6'8". Today he's 6'10". I forgot he was the same weight. So yeah, today he's 6'10". Tomorrow he goes back to go be checked for his weight again. He's seen his doctor. And I'm like, no, I do not want this doctor to look at my son's medical records again. It's none of his business about my son. Besides the one time that he's seen him, and then he was very rude on top of that. He was asking how come I left the day after he was born. That's my hospital's protocol. And then when he was putting a rag over him to see if he'd go pee, I was looking at my son's face and not watching down there. And then when he was done, I said, well, did my son pee? He goes, did it look like he peed? Seriously? But overall, I'm over the moon. I am so in love, so happy that I accomplished my Vbac. Yes, he was head down. Yes, it was wonderful. I felt like a big weight has been lifted off of my chest. To know that a baby can be born vaginally out of me and be okay and not suffer any type of problems during the labor and the birth, and have the epidural work and have the Pitocin work correctly and not over-contract me, and, you know, like, it was so wonderful. Like, it was great. I had a very positive doctor who kept reminding me, no, Melissa, you wanted to this Vbac. You're going to get your Vbac. Because there was points where I wanted to just give up because I wasn't dilating, and that was the reasoning behind wanting this C-section. Not because they were so bad or anything. It's because I was stuck at 5 centimeters all day and all night. But, yeah, that's about it. This video's kind of long. Faith is a very nice big sister, so is Desiree. Everything's going great. He's nursing very well, every 2 to 3 hours during the day. There has been... Good job. Times where occasionally he'll sleep a little longer. But, like I said, lactation consultant said you feed on demand, which is exactly what I'm doing. I'm not going to wake up my son to feed him. He's waking himself up to feed him. But that's my belly now. Come on, babe. Stop. So, it's gone down dramatically. I'm sure it's going to go down a lot more since I'm breastfeeding. When I breastfed Faith at my 6-week checkup, I remember losing like 35 pounds during that first 6 weeks. So I'm sure that's going to happen this time around. Granted, I did not gain, I gained 5 pounds in the beginning and then I lost it. So I did not gain not 1 pound during this pregnancy. Oh, that's another thing. My amniotic fluid was excessive amount of amniotic fluid. I soaked my bed, I soaked the floor, I soaked a pad, I soaked the bed in the hospital, I flooded the floor in the freaking room. Yeah, it is nasty. But I kind of figured that my water was going to break that night when I went to sleep, because it was just like this urge, like this instinct that I had. Like, I felt sick on 4th of July. I wasn't hungry, and I just didn't feel like myself, I guess you would say. And I was really tired. And that night, normally I sleep with pants on, just because that's how I've always slept. But that night, I slept with my husband's boxers on.